Hello, hello, hello. I'm back. Oh man, I'm out here walking. Got him out here with me this time. Got to get him going. We're over here at this church. I like coming here and doing the videos at this church. I don't know why. But as I was walking, I was feeling. I listen to worship music when I walk, and it kind of stirs me up. And this reminds me of myself a long time ago, this story. Yesterday, coming out of our own church, I was talking with a friend of mine, and he was telling me about how afraid he is to pray for people. And I know that fear is so real. That fear is so real. I remember when I first got saved, I wouldn't pray for anybody. I mean, I did, but very rarely, and it wasn't much. I got done as quick as I could, and then I got out of that moment. And quite frankly, that lasted for about 10 years. And then I received the baptism in the Holy Spirit. And for my evangelical brethren that don't understand that or don't believe it, a miracle is worth 1,000 sermons. And so I received that baptism. And from then on out, it was like Peter in Acts 2 rolled out of the building they were in and started preaching, and thousands came to Christ in that moment. And what's so significant about that is that Peter and everybody else, they were tarrying as they were told, but what were they really doing? They were sitting in their fear. They were afraid of those that were out trying to do them harm or kill them. So they were totally afraid. Certainly not about going out and praying for people. That ain't what they were about. They were about staying behind a closed, locked door and tremble every time they heard footsteps outside. They did. But when they were in that closed room, all those 120 folks, and they were together, and that fire fell on them, and they began to speak in different tongues as the Spirit gave them utterance. And then they started rolling out of that room, right? Because then they realized they got to now take that out of the four walls. They couldn't keep it inside of that room. They had to go out into the streets where the real ministry happens, and could not wait to lay hands on people. Couldn't wait to pray and see people saved, healed, and delivered and set free of their bonds. They couldn't wait. But before then, they were scared. And I was too. And I get that. So much do I get that. And it's my heart that anybody who's in that situation would receive the fullness. I was talking with one of my former Baptist brethren years ago, and he kind of got mad at me because I guess maybe I was so eager. Shortly after being baptized in the Holy Spirit, I was just trying to convince everybody of this. This is now my new religion, and you must do it. And so I was talking to him about that, and he just kind of snapped back at me. And he said, because he's been a Baptist for a long time, and he was a good 10, 15 years older than me. And he's like, I'm so sick and tired of all of you so-called charismatics trying to convince everybody that there's some measure of the Holy Spirit and God. And I got to thinking, well, bro, you hadn't really read the scriptures then, because it says in there that we're all born with a measure of faith. It didn't say we were born with a fullness of faith. It said we were born with a measure of it. And that measurement, just like any ingredient that you're going to put together a cake, a pie, or anything, there's ingredients that go into it, and you got one, you start with one, you build on it with another, you build on it with another, and the faith just builds in your experiences. Faith builds as you see things happen around you. I mean, you could listen to 1,000,000 sermons and your faith will never increase But you see one miracle. You see one person drop down some crutches and run. Let me tell you something, ain't nothing like that. And I've seen it. I mean, I had my eyes healed. When you have a supernatural experience happen to either yourself, not just somebody, but to yourself, there is nobody that's going to then convince you otherwise. And if they do, man, they need to work for like a sales company or something, because that's a hard sell. You ain't gonna convince me of it anyway. You know, I'm not as in your face about it as I used to be, but I still believe it strongly, and I'm passionate about it strongly when I'm talking about it. I don't know if you could tell. So understand, there's a measure of faith at birth, and all through life, it either stays the exact same, it increases a little, or it just continues to increase and increase and increase. I don't know if there's ever an ending to that. I doubt there really is. There's probably a roller coaster of it where you're building up this batch of stuff and you realize, oh my gosh, I'm getting beat up left or right. You know, you lose somebody in your life and you don't understand why, to some stupid disease, or, you know, God forbid a child gets sick and dies, or a divorce, or you lose all your money and you've just been faithful your whole life, and then all this stuff happens to you. Well, we're in a fallen world, and there is no way for anybody to explain that. I mean, you can find some brilliant theologian to try to, you know, make you feel comfortable about all that, but I can tell you that ain't me. So, as I have all those questions myself, you know, why do so many bad things happen to so many good people? I've just come to resolve in that situation that what measure of faith that I operate in right now sees beyond that. I see beyond that. And I'm telling you right now, the idea and the thought of losing my wife or my kids, or just, you know, a member of my family or a good friend or whatever the case may be. Look, I get it. I get it. That's a scare. That is a scary, scary thing. And it hurts to even think about that. But I look beyond that, because I'm not going to stand in that footprint and say, why, Jesus? Why did you do this to me? Because I know he didn't. My measure of faith says I know he didn't. I don't know that I had that measure of faith before the baptism of the Holy Spirit. But when I got that measure of faith changed. So just think about that. The next time you're getting ready to go pray for somebody, is it really you doing the work? Do you own the outcome? Because if you own the outcome, then go ahead and get a banner and put it around your neck and say God on it. You're God now. You're God. You own the outcome. Hey, look, I want you to come pray for me. If you're wearing that banner around your neck, come pray for me. Peace.